Okay, so I'm hoping to do several things at once here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save a file with data that I went and got, and it was a beating actually, but I mean the formatting ended up crazy. But now that I have it, this is my data. This is the heights of NBA players, and I have put labels. I want to put it into RStudio. Oh my goodness! And this is during club, so that's the piano. Um, so I want to put it into RStudio, and if I don't put a label, then I have to tell it I have no label, and then it gives me these kind of bizarre labels like V1, V2, things like that. So I'm putting these so that I have actual labels. So the first thing is I go to Save As, not Save, and I do CSV, not XLX or XLXS. It's got to be a CSV file or RStudio can't read it.
No, they're voting on president and I'm a candidate, so I can't see them.
So now I hit continue because yes, I do know it's different.
How do you get kicked out of that?
Okay, so doing this during club time, we've had the yelling and the piano playing, but I've asked them to stop yelling, so we shall see now. Okay, so I've saved it as a CSV. So now I want to go to RStudio, and I don't want to go to RStudio by a method other than here. If you download RStudio, you don't have the packages from UT, you don't have the data from UT, and so hold on. I'm going to block my username and password from you. So when you click on RStudio server, your username and password are here. Those are specific to you. So I'm going to sign in with mine. If you have junk in here, I always clean it up. Just clean it up right from the start. You just click on that. Oops. You just click on that and say yes, clean everything. And here on files, and then the console, if you have junk in it, you can do clear console. On a Windows, I think it's Control L. And then you can get a new script up here. If you have a script and you don't want it, you can shut it and get a new one. So the first thing I'm going to do is upload. I want to upload the file. So you've got to be on files. Plots, packages, and help don't have an upload button. So upload. And there it is. And I say, okay, now to get it where I can actually work with it though, I have to put it in my workspace. So I do import data set from text. And I choose this one. And then I'm going to delete these ones because it'll spin the wheels off of RStudio if you have numbers in there. So I changed it to NBA. And I make sure that heading is checked. If you have it on no, it'll change the label C to V1 and V2, and now it's got name and height as entries. If I go to heading yes, they are my headings. The rest of it's my data. That's interesting. Okay, so that's how to import a file. And now I want to do a couple of things. I want to show you how to do a histogram, which I think it's not actually something that they do in on-ramps. And I also want to talk to you about normal distribution. So normal distribution is when it's shaped like a bell curve. Height, in general, is. So if you just chose a bunch of people at random, you'd get a normal distribution on height. Whether or not that's true with NBA players, I don't know. But I assume that it is normally distributed amongst themselves. Okay, so that's what I want to find out. Some of you are saying you're going to use normal distribution to do things that I have no reason to believe are normally distributed. So this is how you check. You can put the information in here and you can say, give me a histogram. Okay, so I'm going to say I want a histogram of, and I say look in NBA and choose the column height. RStudio is very capital sensitive, and that's a very common problem people end up with. Okay, so there's a histogram. Now so the first thing is that this does look semi-normally distributed. Normally, if you did, if you do the heights of just people, it'd be a little bit more normally distributed. With 404 people, it'd look really pretty seriously normal, but it's close enough. You could probably use normal distribution to look at this. It's not very skewed, it's a little bit skewed. Okay, the other thing is, though, this label is terrible and this label is terrible. So I can specify that I want this, but I want to have it be red. And I want to have the x-axis label be height, and I want to have the main label be height of NBA players. Okay, so if I do this, then this looks a lot better. It's colored it in red. That label looks good. That label looks good. If I wanted to print this, I would want to click zoom first, especially if these were words that run into each other. Some of them wouldn't be visible, it'd be a giant mess, and then once you hit zoom, you'd be able to see them all. So you want to hit zoom, and then you can right-click Save Image As. So that is what normal distribution basically should look like, and it's how to make a histogram and how to import a file.